since I'm in a video making mood these days again, I might as well keep going. I was thinking about some of the stuff I talked about in my last video I did this morning about the Daniel Penny case. Some of the implications of getting involved in a situation and trying to help people out. As I mentioned, there are a lot of people, very experienced, police officers, tactical training people, and so forth, who will tell you that your philosophy should be not my people, not my problem. If it doesn't involve you, get the hell out of there and just avoid the issue, avoid the problems, avoid having to explain, why you got into a fight with somebody. If you actually end up having to use like lethal force or something, just avoid it. Save yourself all that trouble. There is what you're often told by law enforcement, maybe don't get involved, but just, if you try and be a good witness. And some people will tell you, even that is not something you should mess around with. You want to be a good witness against some gangbanger, have all their buddies come and try and murder you when you're getting ready to go and testify at trial. It happens, it happens. There was a case here, probably I think several cases here recently in the Orlando area here in Central Florida that I've seen on the news. I don't remember the specifics, but people who they murdered people who were getting ready to go and testify against them in other cases. So is it really worth it to get involved, even just to stick around and try and be a witness, be the one who's responsible for getting some gangbanger, some violent recidivist criminal sent back to prison, maybe this time for the last time, and he doesn't want to go back, and it's all because you're the one who's there. Yeah, that's clearly the person I saw. I would never forget that face. Yep, that's the guy that had the the Mickey Mouse boxer shorts that you could see because his pants were hanging down around the crack of his ass, and he had a red sweatshirt on. That's the guy. I'll never forget him. And there you are, getting ready to testify to that in court. And he doesn't want to go back to fucking prison. So are you really going to get involved in that? On the other hand, it's like I mentioned before, some of the stuff James Yeager said about dealing with active shooters. How would you feel if your mom or somebody you love, your wife, was present in a situation and there was somebody there who had a gun, had the knowledge and the skill to employ it successfully, and would have been able to intervene in that situation and save their life instead of having them be killed? How would you feel about that, And you're in that situation, and you have the ability to save somebody's life, keep somebody's mother from being murdered. Are you really just going to say, well, I don't want to get involved and have my life screwed up? And that's what we see with this Daniel Penny case, Like he said, how can I look myself in the mirror if I just let somebody, kill someone? And unfortunately, when you choose to get involved and you put yourself in that situation, once you're involved, you're involved. That's it. You can't back out. Once you pull out a gun, start popping off rounds, that's it. There's no going back. Once you decide, okay, I'm going to go hands-on and try and restrain this person, and then you end up, it's just like when, every time you see body camera video or something of a police officer trying to restrain somebody anymore, there they are. Oh, look, he's killing me. He's killing me. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. It's like automatic reflex for people to start saying this shit now. just to try and get everybody around recording with their cell phones and to try and make sure that someday they'll be able to sue the person, you know? And it's not just the police, it's you too as an individual if you get involved in that situation. At least if you're a police officer, you can claim that you had an obligation. You were getting paid to get involved and to look after those people. If you're not, you know, what are you going to say? You can say, yeah, I couldn't stand by and watch these people being hurt, but you don't have as much leeway to act as a police officer does without getting your ass sued. And they will come after you. Someone is going to sue you. Depending where you are, what the political climate is like. If you're not in a free state like Florida or somewhere, and you do something, even if it's not, you would think, remotely questionable, some power-hungry DA or someone who is, you know, trying to curry favor with a certain group of people so that they can get elected, get some money from this or that group or whatever, they might just decide to screw with you and make you go through the hassle of being prosecuted or at least indicted just because, for their own political convenience. They don't care if it screws up your life and bankrupts you. That doesn't mean anything to them, you know? Anytime you get involved with one of these situations, man, it's something you have to think about. You know, and it doesn't mean necessarily that you're a coward if you don't get involved. Sometimes it's just not worth it. You know, it sounds really, really cool to say, yeah, you can either be a live hero or a dead hero, or a live coward or a dead coward. Those aren't the only two options, you know? Just because you don't choose to step in and try and be a hero doesn't make you a coward. Sometimes it might just mean you're smart, you know? Sure, those other people there that you could maybe do something to help them. On the other hand, all those other people, they had just as much chance as you did to go out and buy a gun, to learn how to shoot, to have a gun with them in case, you know, they ran into one of these vicious predators out there. It isn't necessarily your responsibility to jump in and get involved every time some kind of shit goes down. So there really is no right answer. You know, it's not an either or kind of thing, where either you have to get involved or else you're a coward, or not get involved, you know. Only you in that situation, weighing the whole circumstance, the totality, the totalitarianism of it all, as they said in Something About Mary. Only you, weighing all of that, can make that decision. And it's not something where you can say it's, you know, black and white, right or wrong kind of decision. You know, what kind of position are you in your life? It's like with me right now, getting close to retiring at the post office. I've got a house that I built in the Philippines. You know, my wife and I are planning to move back over there. I've got a wife who's almost 30 years younger than me. You know, our girls over in the Philippines that, you know, our nieces, you know, but really we're planning to adopt them. They're like our girls. We take care of them, you know. Even my wife's mom, you know, I got a family. And people who can't afford to have me sitting around in jail or being sued for millions of dollars just to get involved in somebody else's shit, you know. So it's not an easy question. It's hard. But in that moment, you have to think about all those things and decide what you're going to do. It's not as easy as some people would like to have you think, you know, where you just got yourself programmed in advance. If this happens, I'm going to do this. I'm going to whip out my gun and yell stop and then drill them 2 times through the chest. You know, you can't just do that. You can't just program yourself in advance. You can't just tell a jury someday, well, I programmed myself through training to respond in this way if this trigger situation happened. And that situation happened, and I reverted to my training, and I did what I was trained and had trained myself to do. You have to think about that situation in the moment and make a rational decision and an intelligent decision. And I can't give you the answer. No one can. It's on you in any given situation. And you have to have the tools and the training beforehand to think about everything and make an intelligent decision. There is no right or wrong. Life's not like that. There's just possibilities. Possibilities, decisions, and outcomes, And that's life.